In this podcast episode, Joe Rogan and comedian Matt McCusker engage in a wide-ranging conversation that covers personal anecdotes, health and nutrition, the darker complexities of societal issues, including Jeffrey Epstein's case, the world of stand-up comedy, fitness and recovery, conspiracy theories surrounding UFOs and government secrecy, as well as nuanced perspectives on mental health and the current cultural climate. Their dialogue provides deep insight into various topics, from humorous reflections on daily life to serious discussions about power, truth, and the human experience. The episode opens with a discussion about the increasingly popular trend of using ring lights or table lights to improve on-camera appearance, a trend common among podcasters and streamers. McCusker and Rogan joke about the idea of lighting one's face to appear more flattering, contrasting it with the traditional flashlight under the chin method used for telling scary stories. They observe that many men, even now, use digital filters in photos to soften their appearance, which seems incongruous given their actual looks. This sparks a comedic critique of how image and reality often diverge in media promotion. The conversation shifts to personal aging, with Rogan and McCusker sharing their ages, near 60 and early 40s respectively, and discussing how parenthood accelerates aging due to sleep deprivation. They touch on the importance of creatine supplements in managing energy and recovery, noting humorous side effects like digestive upset. Rogan recommends creatine dosing strategies, highlighting the need to adjust according to one's tolerance. They delve into digestive health topics, especially the effects of various diets on bowel movements. Both share experiences with veganism, discussing enlarged stools and resultant hemorrhoids, attributing this to increased fiber intake. The discussion includes skepticism toward carnivore diet advocates who suggest fiber is unnecessary, with reflections on how meat is processed through the body. The hosts also mention probiotic-rich foods like kimchi and sauerkraut, emphasizing their positive effects on gut health. Joe and Matt muse over how ancestral humans likely ate, the challenges of food preservation, and the role of fiber and gut bacteria in modern health. Rogan and McCusker recount a variety of historical and regional stories. These include John Wayne's diet myths and death circumstances involving filming in nuclear test zones, resulting in cancer among crew members. They also discuss the unawareness of past occupational hazards like asbestos exposure and talcum powder's controversial links to cancer, illustrating how modern understanding of health risks evolves. Personal anecdotes about family safety and urban violence tie into broader reflections on societal tensions. Shifting focus, the hosts express fatigue and overwhelm with current news cycles, political scandals, and conspiracy theories, especially surrounding Epstein and related high-profile figures. They discuss the addictive nature of outrage across social media and the likelihood of algorithms tracking user engagement to feed polarizing content. They debate the plausibility of mass arrests and justice in the Epstein case, reflecting on how insiders' actions may remain hidden or distorted. A substantial portion of the conversation is devoted to Jeffrey Epstein's incarceration, death, and the disturbing circumstances leading up to it. The episode covers reports of an alleged earlier suicide attempt or assault on Epstein by his cellmate, a convicted murderer with a history of violence. The mysterious loss of video footage and contradictory accounts of inmates' interactions are analyzed, suggesting deep complexities and possible cover-ups within the prison system. McCusker and Rogan discuss conspiracy theories about Epstein's death, including alleged body doubles, and contemplate the implications for his high-profile connections. The discussion takes a wild turn as they explore encounters with dangerous wildlife during travel, including baby sharks, while snorkeling, and the aggressive nature of bull sharks found in Florida waters. They highlight the high density of invasive Burmese pythons in the Everglades and relate tales from Snake Island in Brazil, famed for being overwhelmed by highly venomous snakes. The conversation also touches on iguanas in Florida as an invasive species and their use as food, illustrating ecological disruptions caused by human introduction of non-native species. Stories of alligator-filled moats surrounding detention facilities and wildlife's resilience in extreme conditions add color and humor. Rogan and McCusker discuss human aging, endurance, and the surprising benefits of training at high altitudes. They share personal experiences with sprinting as a form of explosive exercise to improve cardiovascular health and circulation. The transformative story of rapper Jelly Roll's dramatic weight loss over 3 years, driven by diet and exercise, is highlighted as inspiration. The impact of weight loss on vocal range and quality is noted, sparking a humorous send-up of how physical changes affect performance artists. The hosts discuss individual sensitivities to caffeine, the paradoxical effects on sleep and creativity, and how substances like Adderall and other stimulants are used by creative professionals to enhance productivity. The complicated relationship between various drugs, ranging from prescription stimulants to cocaine and methamphetamine, and performance is explored. Anecdotes about comedians and journalists using Adderall or other substances as cognitive enhancers reveal a darker side of the high-pressure entertainment and media industries. Much of the episode is devoted to the intricacies of stand-up comedy. McCusker shares experiences from open mics, the importance of bombing as a learning tool, and the challenge of creating and sustaining fresh material. They discuss the dynamics of comedy classes, hosting gigs, and navigating industry politics, including club blacklists and fierce competition. The difficulties faced by novice comedians, especially when opening for headliners, are revealed with humor and empathy, illustrating the contrast between raw talent and polished acts. The conversation turns to the COVID-19 pandemic, where Joe Rogan and Matt McCusker talk about their fears of transmission, particularly around newborns and vulnerable individuals. They share experiences with testing protocols on podcast sets, social distancing challenges, and how family risk perceptions influenced behavior. Discussions of vitamin D's role in immune function and the low rates of severe illness within their circle provide a balanced view of the pandemic's reality versus the fear often propagated by media. They also touch on post-infection recovery and the impact of sleep deprivation on immune resilience. McCusker shares his background in social work and the complexities of mental health education. He describes the chaotic and politically charged atmosphere of social work programs, highlighting issues of groupthink, radical ideologies, and the challenges of navigating real-world therapeutic interactions. The often awkward emphasis on race, oppression, and social justice theory in academic settings contrasts with the practical realities of working with vulnerable children in inner-city schools. Their critique touches on the disconnect between political correctness and effective support, along with the challenges of maintaining objectivity in a highly charged environment. The episode delves into mental health perspectives, discussing therapy as both a science and an interpersonal skill. They consider the range of therapeutic modalities from cognitive behavioral therapy to more informal approaches involving just listening and empathy. The use of medication, challenges with overdiagnosis, and insurance constraints are examined. Personal stories illustrate the impact of therapy, while the philosophical debate over free will, determinism, and human behavior adds depth to their discussion of responsibility and rehabilitation. Medical topics reemerge, focusing on parasites like toxoplasmosis, which affects behavior by altering brain chemistry and is linked to exposure from cats. They caution against toxoplasmosis's risk to pregnant women due to its cat litter transmission route. McCusker recounts personal experiences with eye infections from cats, eczema, and food intolerances, particularly gluten sensitivity, discussing the intersection between diet, immune response, and overall health. Vitamin D's pivotal role in immune regulation and allergy management is emphasized. They explore infectious diseases such as shingles and MRSA, the reactivation of chickenpox virus causing shingles among older adults, and the importance of vaccination and early antiviral treatment are noted. Stories of MRSA infections contracted during sports like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu highlight the dangers and prevalence of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, with anecdotes showing the seriousness of these infections and their impact on athletes. The toll of recurring infections on careers serves as a sobering example of health vulnerabilities. The conversation critiques modern dietary guidelines, contrasting outdated food pyramids with current understandings that emphasize whole foods and reduced processed ingredients. They discuss the backlash against public figures like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who challenge mainstream nutritional orthodoxy. The political polarization surrounding health advice and suspicion of pharmaceutical and food industry influence permeates the discussion, reflecting broader societal mistrust. The hosts muse on cultural disparities in cuisine and health outcomes between the US and Europe, underscoring the need to reevaluate food choices. One of the final topics centers on UFOs, government secrecy, and alien existence revelations. They explore Bob Lazar's story as a former propulsion engineer who claimed to have reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology at Area 51. The hosts discuss recent political comments by figures including former President Trump and Barack Obama about classified material on aliens, implicating the existence of advanced unidentified aerial phenomena. The lore of secret facilities, alleged crashes, and international possession of alien technology in places such as South Korea are examined. They reflect on how the government's growing acknowledgement of UFOs may shape public perception and political strategy. Brief attention is given to Texas political intrigue involving candidates like Brian Terrico and Jasmine Crockett. Allegations of racially charged comments and campaign conflicts illustrate the heightened tensions and dirty tactics in local politics. The hosts explain the Federal Communications Commission's equal time rule impacting political appearances on shows, which may have led to censorship or delays in airing certain interviews. Returning to the Epstein saga, the episode touches on recent deposition footage of Leslie Wexner with a highly intense exchange, revealing the heavyweight pressure and tumultuous atmosphere surrounding investigations into Epstein's financial and criminal activities. The difficulty in obtaining justice and transparency, as well as the damage to public trust, are underscored. Throughout, McCusker and Rogan reflect on the personal qualities of political figures, contrasting former presidents, their public personas, and how media portray them. They lament the pervasive negativity and divisiveness in news and social media, emphasizing the human need for understanding beyond polarized narratives. McCusker closes with reflections on his comedy career trajectory, tour plans, and insights into performing new material live. He emphasizes the excitement and challenge of developing a distinct comedic voice, underscoring the passionate and demanding nature of the craft.